Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Barn Table Talks. I'm your host, Benji Bonnet, here with my co-host, Travis Corman. Special thanks again to Experience Ag and Land Pros for sponsoring us. Travis, why don't you take us away with the icebreaker question?
All right, we're here with Jiri.
Yes, Jiri.
You want to introduce Jiri first?
I'm going to try your last name, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Vangenknecht.
Yeah, you're close.
Close?
Yes.
Okay, well,
I'll take it.
okay. I tried. That's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one there.
That's the
But
closest a white boy from Boston's ever got, so he's happy.
hey, I'm part foreign, too, there. I'm a little European in there, so.
Okay. Jiri, we start this off with just a icebreaker question. So I'm going to roll off here and use one we've used in the past, but it's always interesting to see what, I guess, people say. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure from any time, who would it be and why?
Oh,
If you need a second to think about it, that's just
let me think about it.
Let me go on to someone else first, and Benji can start this.
I can start it if you want me to.
Normally we don't start. Normally we have the time to think.
Okay.
So we'll give you just a second to think here if you'd like.
Honestly, I'll probably go with like Alexander the Great or someone from like way back in time during those like empire
Good leader. Yeah.
empire stages, just to kind of see what kind of, I mean, I'm sure they were very similar to us, but
food they eat.
yeah, or that, what kind of food they eat or just life in general. I think that would be kind of cool to get a little taste in that. So I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Mine's very controversial, but people are going to have to hear me out on this one because
It's like, I'm going to have to cut this out.
So I would like to try to sway for a positive, but I would like to sit at the table with Hitler. There's the face over there. The reason being, so he was a very influential person, right? But if you could have swayed his decisions for positive instead of the negative,
Okay. Yeah.
right? If he had that
Yeah.
person that could have like actually, been a role model in his life. I'm not saying I would be a role model in his life, but potentially sit there at a dinner conversation and be like, yeah, I think it's a bad idea, man.
Yeah.
Maybe he
don't
never
do
had that.
Yeah.
Maybe he never had that.
Yeah.
So, see, that was a good twist there.
There you go.
Wasn't-
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds both interesting.
What's yours? What have you got?
Well, I would go also back. So maybe not as you would, or maybe somewhere when all like some innovators were, like, I don't know, Isaac Newton, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
See what's went through their mind. See the personalities,
There's always people that are like, man, I wish I could know what
Yeah.
they forgot.
because they influence our lives
Mm-hmm.
and they change the world actually. So
I like that.
So that would be also nice.
Do you
to-
think we sit next to
see them.
people sometimes today that we don't realize they're doing that now?
Probably.
You mean today? Or?
Yeah, like like maybe not today, but like in our
I
lives.
know.
At one point, you sat
Right
next.
now.
Could be right now. Yeah.
That's you, Yuri.
I know.
Well, we sit next to people every day, whether it be on the bus, the plane. I just got back from a trip, to Arkansas, which it was cold. But we sit next to these people, and you don't know who they are. A lot of times, you don't have a conversation with them, and they really could be
Yeah.
changing the world, or that person that someone wants to sit down next to. That's
But sometimes it can be good and sometimes it can be bad. So
Yep.
you never know who you're passing by.
you got to be that positive influence,
You never know.
right?
Yeah, you're right. I got
There you
you.
go. So Yuri, tell us. Yuri is here with us from ATX Implements,
Yeah.
right? And within ATX Implements, tell us a little bit about that company, maybe, and what do you do within ATX?
Well, the ATX Implements is like the base company with the mother company Agro Power, both based here in States, but the Agro operate all over the world mostly. So the ATX is like the focus on a high performance stuff and for agriculture, industrial equipment. So what ATX do, it's a importer for Bedar equipment. So it's a Czech-based brand for the tillage equipment, specialized for soil cultivation, seeding, and all these agricultural stuff. So it was based also in Czech. So as I am from Czech, so you might know.
What part is Czech?
You might notice from my accent. So I'm from the northeastern part of Czech,
Okay.
close to Polish borders.
Mm-hmm.
actually. So, but still, like, Czech is as big as Indiana is. So
Yeah, we had the opportunity to go over there.
yeah.
That was a great trip, beautiful country.
Yes, very
I like to
interesting.
hear that.
Yes, very interesting stuff. So Agro Eco Power, we had the opportunity to go over to Bednar, and I think I've talked about that a couple times on this. I very loving that trip that we took.
Yep.
We had the opportunity to go into Prague, the surrounding countryside with you guys, see the factory, very impressive, and then actually see I'm going to call it the performance lab of Agro Eco Power.
Yeah.
See them do some live tunes on some, high horsepower cars.
Oh yeah.
So you guys tune cars.
Yeah, with Agro Eco Power.
Agro Eco Power does
Actually, the
tunings.
company in Czech that focus on cars is called X Tuning.
X tuning. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and it's also like what the ATX stands for. It's
And you guys
Agro
also
X Tuning.
manufacture dynos.
Yes.
Right.
We manufacture our own dyno, like the new line of it. We are able to do the long measuring for underload.
You can do individual wheel
Yes.
Wow.
performance.
We are now focusing on also invent the wheel hubs for the semis, so we are able to measure directly on the wheels. So it's a long-term measuring. So you find the curves of the performance of the power of the engine.
I remember sitting there, and it was later in the day, and I think it was kind of turned into early evening and stuff, and we were inside, but you just heard this. I've never heard anything so loud. Like, what is that?
We're like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just this loud, huge rumble. Like,
Oh yeah.
it ends up poking our head. We had a couple drinks and we walked outside and like, oh, they're tuning.
Yeah.
And I think there was a BMW potentially.
BMW or Audi, one of the two. I don't know.
Or Audi, something that was getting
I mean, it was
evaluated across in one of the performance bays over there that they were tuning on. Then they
almost
went
looked
and
like
ran
a-
it again. Actually, we walked all over there.
Yeah.
And kind of stood around. And not very often do I have to hold my ears during like, man, that thing was like they had it going. It was impressive. It was fun. It was very informative and stuff like that. So that was very neat. But with that, you guys tune not just high performance cars.
Yeah.
You also tune from semis.
Yeah.
You guys do construction equipment. And you also do agricultural equipment, which is more what we're familiar with. We do a lot more. in the
Well, it all
agricultural.
started in 1999 with the high performance cars mostly, and then in
Who kind of started it? Do you know the history of that? Or who?
Yeah, it was our owner. It's Jacob Klobasa.
Yep.
He started the company.
How old was Jacob when he started this?
Yeah, it was Jacob.
How old was he? Do you know?
So it was 25 years back. So he was 25 years younger than
was
me.
gonna but he wasn't much out of high school, if I remember correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it was young.
We got the chance to meet him, right? Yeah.
Yes. Jacob's a very entrepreneurial, spirited guy. Like
Yep.
very, impressive.
Yeah. So and then in it was like 2004, and they start focus for Agro. So that's when the Agro Eco Power started. And then 10 years later, the Agro Eco Power came here to the States. And so it's been 10 years now
10 years.
that we operate here in the United States. And with Agro Eco Power, we cover over 30 states, I believe. So yeah, it's...
And all over Europe, right? You guys cover all over Europe. Yeah.
But I mean, it's 30 states here in the United States, but all over Europe. We are in Australia, Brazil,
Yeah.
That's impressive.
almost all over Europe.
Yeah. So what is different? Can you tell us how Agro Eco Power is maybe different than or stand out from the other opportunities that guys may have to do aftermarket shipping, increasing levels on the market?
So-
Like, how does that change that? What is that?
Looking for differences between the tune and the chip box is that we don't put any hardware to the tractor, so it's nothing different in that. So we just modify the software. It's directly in the engine or in the tractor. So we are able to modify all the curves, all the injections and stuff. So
we're not just increasing fuel rail pressure. We're not just trying to bolt on and it not know that we're there. We're actually downloading, I'm going to call it the Excel file in the background.
yes,
And we have identified the parameters to bring that equipment not up to its maximum performance,
Yeah, but optimized.
to a optimized or safe performance of what those engine boundaries can control, and the rest of the components of the machine, right?
Yes, that's
What do you see also besides a horsepower, or besides a an increase in that? What else do you always you commonly see when you guys do a tune or on a piece of equipment? I mean, is there fuel efficiency?
Yes,
Is there
definitely.
cooler running temperatures?
Actually, few months back, talked to one of our customer, and we put a tune on his case combine, and he said that like the tune itself was paid in 2 weeks using the combine during the harvest season.
Wow.
So the fuel consumption difference is
It's a fast return right there.
Yeah.
The efficiency of what? So I've got the case combine. I've got a grower of mine that we've done it's 8230, 8240, both machines. Now, one thing that can happen, but is not a major deal, is we go out and we provide a tune on a piece of equipment, and say they have to come back and they have to rewrite firmware on the main board of the we call it the ECM, for lack of better words, right? Essentially, they reset that back to factory.
Yeah.
But that's not a major deal, is it?
No, because it happens.
It happens.
Every time, almost every time, when the service manager or service technician,
Yeah, and you're just going to bill us the same amount.
They just refresh it back.
You're just going to bill us again to come out and flash. Is that the way it works?
No,
you do it for
yeah,
free.
yeah. We
Right.
provide customers with we call it lifetime warranty.
Yeah, and that's
So whenever you got the dealer come on site doing some for repair works, they usually refresh it back to stock. So you give us a call, we come back and put the tune back with no charge.
That's nice.
That's impressive.
Lifetime
And on
warranty
this
on that.
one particular machine, I do know that they were having They were troubleshooting some issues on the machine, and I do know that on this 8240 combine, I think that you guys showed back up 3 to 4 times.
Yeah.
And it was probably over a 2-week period.
That's what we got
That
to take a
the dealership saying, okay, we got to fix this time, and then we'd show back up and retune the thing, because this machine was cutting beans at 3. This one over here is cutting it at 4.3. As far same bean, same field.
Yeah.
The owner's like, I don't want my hired hand out running me. This is embarrassing. Right? He's not going. So, but yeah. But you guys just showed back up and and there was never oh my gosh, here we go again. No, it was.
It is,
Right
but
back in
not
the time.
directly.
Yeah. but also,
But you still do it.
there's a huge diagnostics help. I've been down the road where you guys have helped, been like, okay, hey, we're throwing a code. And it's not like, well, it's not us, sorry. No, it's like, okay, this is exactly what that code means.
Yeah.
This is what you need to look at, and this is how you need to address that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So there's a large diagnostics piece that through the process of tuning, you guys have provide help with in identifying.
Yeah, we
that
try
stuff.
to always, help customers, because that's what we try to focus most on. So we provide with this diagnostic to try to tell them what's wrong, try to tell what they need to do to increase their performance. So happy customer.
Yeah. So
That's
all that matters
that's
there.
number one.
So how long ago did you join ATX? I guess how long have you
I
been part of the
joined
team?
that's a few years back. It's 3 years.
3 years.
Right now. So I started working in Europe for the company back in Czech Republic, and then I moved here to Indiana. And
How has that transition been from Czech over here to the U.S.? Has that been
it's
big change for you? Or
I mean, I've been here a couple of times before, so it was no unknown step to me, but still, it was way changing a life actually. So to take all the stuff, move here,
yeah,
and start working here. Yeah, but I mean, I like it. So
one thing that I noticed, from our, were we 10 days? Is
we
that
were
what
there 10, 11 days. Yeah,
10 or 11 days.
Yep.
It was a wonderful trip. One thing that I noticed though was the pace of life is different. It seems like here we're always in a hurry to get to the next thing. I felt like it was just maybe one gear down there. I mean, it wasn't quite as what they call island time, where you're just like, whatever happens today, it happens. It
it's a
wasn't
little
that.
more than that. Yeah,
But it was somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
And it was, it seemed like it was just okay. And then I think the work, the culture of what is different. You guys call it a holiday, right? And
Yep.
stuff like that. That's very valued over there. And it's, very well probably supported.
What I would say also is this fact depends on if you are from countryside or from the city, because city is always speeding, I would say. But from the small towns, and I'm from small town, usually like, I wouldn't say like we take time, but I'd say that we like to enjoy, and we are not just the target focused, but still we try to enjoy the journey, not to focus on the goal.
Yeah. So I think that gets overlooked because the journey is just like a
100%.
burden.
Yeah.
Seems like the journey is a burden here.
You just want to get there A to B as fast as possible.
Yes.
So
Snap my fingers, let me be there. Is what happens a lot of times here. And I think you're right. I think that's actually part of the enjoyable process.
So in your time when you, I guess, worked back in the Czech Republic and then compared to the US, what have been some of the bigger differences you've noticed in the ag industry here compared to back, in Europe and all that?
I'd say the biggest difference that you can see from the first sight is the size of the land here. You guys here farm easily over 1,000 acres, but it's back there at home. Actually, we just have less. So we're not so much focused on the big tractors.
Yep.
Like the lot horsepower, but we were mostly like looking for like compact stuff, which is also versatile. So,
but you're not allowed to be over a certain width as you transport up and down the roads as well.
We're talking about transportation, that our roads aren't built for for the big transportation. So that's the rules and regulations that we need to follow. It's about the width and also about the weight. The weight is also because you just can put the amount of weight depends on the axles.
Gotcha. Yep.
So that's something you need to follow.
I don't know that we have any restrictions on equipment, on farm equipment with a weight rating, and stuff like that. If I'm wrong, please someone correct me or comment on this and let us know so we can. But I don't think there's that. There is on our trucking companies and on like most of our over-road use and stuff like that. So much weight per axle. Max weight allowed and stuff, but
but you guys also have restrictions on how much you can plant, right? And like what per crop?
Yeah, it's coming from the European Union. They always, because they want to keep some of the lands like crop free from for example 1 season. So the ground can get more healthy, I would say. So I would say that Europe is more driven by like the environmental health and try to focus more on So
a lot of subsidies, a lot of government involvement.
That's what they try to subsidies, and they try to get rid of the fertilizers, pesticides. So I believe that Europe is more driven with precision farming because it's supported.
You can't outproduce. You can't just put quantity out there. They're limiting the quantity that you can do. So you have to
make the most of what you got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
So they try to support it with the regulation actually. Right. So but there's a lot of programs that the government will put to farmers and to help them.
So this is one thing that, we have a few topics that we have listed here if we draw blanks, but this isn't on here, but it just entered my mind. Like this war in Ukraine that has been going on for how many years now?
It's 3 years now.
3 years now.
In March.
How much has that impacted agriculture? And maybe you not be able to answer, I don't know how big of an geographical area you can answer for, but how has that impacted?
Well, it impacted not just agriculture; it impacted all industry because of the the gas or the oil coming up from Russia. So there were put on tariffs. So it increased the prices for us for electricity and all that stuff. But
your export markets went. Where did because a lot of trucking, my understanding of like a lot of that stuff used to go to Ukraine.
Yes, but still we the delivery to Ukraine still are ongoing. Like the support to Ukraine, I believe in our countries, like in the Europe, is high.
Yeah.
But it influenced the prices and the agriculture also a lot because Ukraine is a rich country for wheat.
Yeah. Yep.
So they produce a lot and they import it to I would say to all Europe, actually,
Yeah.
or to the whole world maybe.
Yep.
So it was influenced because a lot of land was destroyed, and from the beginning the prices dropped because they tried to sell it as fast as possible. So
So it saturated the market,
Yes,
absolutely
so it
saturated the
was-
market, which
yeah.
destroyed your markets to distribute and get rid of your grains
yeah
and stuff like that.
yeah.
Has that kind of come back a little bit, or is that still the case?
It's not as it was before.
Okay, I think that was one of the things when we were over there. Like there was just you almost couldn't get rid of the grain because there was so much being exported, so much being trucked from places like Ukraine, just dumping it as fast as they could out.
Yeah.
And I could be misspeaking on this, but this was kind of being explained and understood. And
Yeah.
you don't understand how close. It's within 8 hours,
Well,
right? Within 8 hours.
yes,
essentially,
we are
we're-
able to because between us and Ukraine, they are just like Poland.
Yeah.
So from here, I would say it's as close as Pennsylvania, maybe.
Yeah, 8-10 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
8-10
driving 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And so now has that continued?
It's quite close. People are a bit afraid of the war, so everyone's praying for it to end already.
Yeah.
And it's belong actually. So
Yeah, and there's been a lot of relocation, a lot of people that have probably relocated out because that is within a driving distance and trying to. Now you have a larger workforce coming in trying to find these jobs.
Yes.
I mean it kind of trickles through the whole.
It also influenced the labor market a bit, but I believe I wouldn't say that anybody would lost a job for someone else coming from the different country.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it wasn't that way. Maybe that time there was a lot more jobs than people, so it filled up the gap.
yeah,
That what I from maybe somebody would tell you something different, but that's my point of view. That
Yeah.
that I would see it.
yeah. Well, that's a very interesting, and it's a very interesting point of from as close to the front as we probably have heard
Yep.
on how that impacts everything local.
Because all we see is on news. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't really know.
What's being told to you on the news.
Yes,
You don't know how much
exactly.
that's filtered, unfiltered, true, whatever it is, right?
But like from some other aspect, I'd say that these crises spread, the society a lot. The scissors are wider than it was before.
Gotcha.
If you know, what I mean.
Yeah. There's a split. There's now
there's
it's
a big split
you
in
divide it.
opinions, and the society is not like one nation. I would say it's
Yeah.
like
Yep. So now the Czech is it's a very interesting place. I guess they're part of the European Union, but yet it's not 100%. And by I mean that they don't use the currency,
no,
the euro.
we should, but we're not there yet.
Yes, it's not. You don't use the euro, and there's the controversy of they don't want to be governed or controlled or set by that currency. Is I believe some of the kickback on why that's not there, right? But as far as the trade and stuff like that, moving in and out within the countries, driving and stuff, that's all.
What is the currency again?
In Czech,
Yeah, what was
Czech crown.
crown? That's yes. Okay.
Yeah, so to become the member of the European Union, then the country sign a contract somehow, and they promise to have the currency in a few years, but we're not there yet because you have to meet the criteria to it's about the debt and more stuff
Right,
like inflation.
a lot higher than this table gets to decide.
Yeah, it's more economic stuff now. So but you have to get to these criteria to get to the currency. So we didn't get there yet. I would say that.
Gotcha.
So, in accordance with ATX Implements and Bedar and Agro, where do you see you guys going in the future? Is there any kind of new stuff you guys are coming out with, or what's the overall goal
I would
there?
say that with the new stuff, we are currently building the new warehouse or the new HQ in Omaha. But it's not in Nebraska. It's on the Iowa side.
And this is for Bednar, right?
It's for the whole
thing? Okay.
For the whole things. We expect to have there like the warehouse, Bednar, have there a DPF cleaning center for the
Filters. Yep, gonna start cleaning
the
that.
DPF. We doing it in Europe.
So cleaning DPF filters is having to purchase new ones
It's like
and stuff like that.
let's say it's gonna
Be like a refurb.
kind of new product for the line. Yeah, and we want to do the dynos because, as I mentioned before, we have the wheel hub for the semi. So with that wheel hub, we can have the wheel hub for the pickup trucks for whatever. So we would be able to measure almost any kind of.
Yeah, we got a dyno out back, actually. We have one of your dynos.
You noticed
He forgot about that. Sorry about it. We don't have your dyno. Not that I know how to run it anyway.
I have a bill for you.
So,
yeah, and regarding the Bednar, I think we're still like continuing to get us new dealers to spread over the states, get more awareness of the brand with the local farmers, do the field demos.
yeah.
Mostly try to focus directly on their fields, show them how it works on the exact field for them, because every soil is a bit different, so they can see that it's adjustable, that it's the wide range of usage for the equipment. And speaking of tillage, so once we tried also to focus later on the seeding machines.
Gotcha.
To come here. Currently we have one, it's called Effecta. It's down in Oklahoma for, the ground testing. So it's been already here. We're testing the ground, we're testing the soil, and we're ready to roll actually with that.
Good.
Awesome.
So it's kind of like new range of the machinery.
So now you came obviously from home, and where's home now?
Currently I'm in Carmel, Indiana.
Carmel? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's home for
So
now.
did you stop anywhere in between? Like, were you living anywhere else in between? Like when you left Europe and you came here?
Well, as I mentioned before, I was here a couple of times, so I spent like 6 months in New York. Not New York City, but
in
the
the
upstate.
state. Yeah. I heard that's beautiful. I've never been there.
Oh yeah. So it's more woods there, well, more hilly than here. But I mean, I love Carmel.
Yeah.
It's nice there, so nice being
Like roundabouts.
yeah, all around about. Yeah, I know the story because the Carmel is the top city with the roundabout.
Yeah, it's roundabout capital of the world, I think.
You just keep
turning it, yeah.
keep turning the steering wheel.
Yeah. So family, you married, you got kids? What's
I'm not married, so
married?
I'm actually here on my own
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
And so I have family back there in Europe. So
Have they been able to come over and visit you?
I hope so.
Hope so.
Like my parents plan to visit this year.
That'd be good.
Awesome.
So
There you go.
I hope they will like it. So show them around.
Hopefully they don't come back with like, oh man, that place is just a bunch of angry Americans.
This place is awful.
Right?
This is not the America that we hear on TV.
Yeah.
No, they've never been here actually.
Good.
So first time for them. So
You gonna take them around further than just Carmel, or are you gonna?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Show them around. Maybe to the coast also.
Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot of land to cover.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
for sure.
A lot of driving.
A lot of driving. You don't drive this much in Europe, I don't think.
I say like you are like hour and
Yeah.
half from me right now, and I was it's like behind the corner.
Yeah.
But when it would be back in Europe, I would plan it like a week in advance so I can make the trip here because it will be like half day of traveling. So that's a different point. As you asked before, what's the biggest difference that I see from Europe to here?
Transportation.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Transportation.
Yeah. I would say it's so smooth here compared to Europe. Not in the cities, of course, but still, like you drive smoothly, and so.
And I'm gonna be honest, I think it's majority a Midwest thing too, because I grew up on the East Coast. Even like a 2 to 3 hour drive, and I'll say 2 to 4 hour drive was considered like, wow. It's like, wow, that's a long drive. But like here, like if you in the Midwest, that's like, yeah, 4-6 hours. Yeah, we can do that in like half a day or whatever. It's just like completely different mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can, especially in Europe where you guys got trains everywhere and all that kind of transportation. That's a whole different
We
different
are
ballgame.
used to travel with the public transport quite a bit, I would say, and the network or, for the public transport is way better there than in here.
Yeah.
Because, here it's not built for the public transport as much.
I would bet you come around here and 90% of the people you talk to probably have not been on public transport.
Probably not.
That's the other reason.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I bet, yeah.
It's just not really a thing. I mean, unless city, but even there, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and
We drive in. What are you going to do? I mean, you drive in. So then what are you going to do, though? I mean, whether you're going to a ball game, whether you're going to whatever it is, you're sitting in a big parking garage. You're not taking public transport to or from,
Yeah, even the cities in Europe are not built for the
the closest thing we come to on public transport is like the economy lot bus coming back out of the airport.
Yeah.
Like,
I can imagine driving like the F-150 in Prague. You probably didn't fit to the street.
You couldn't make a turn in there.
Yeah.
we were in a parking garage and I was driving, I don't know, it was a little SUV, probably, a little Ford Explorer-ish size thing, maybe smaller than that. I didn't think I was going to make the turn going into the parking
You
garage.
do like a 6-point turn just to like
Get up
around
the
the corner.
Yeah, and you could see the scrape marks in the front and the scrape marks in the back.
Oh, yeah, people have been here.
Yeah. So the size of the cars here is way different.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. What have been the challenges that you guys have faced? And you can speak this from any level you want, whether it be ATX, Bednar, or Agro that you've had to like come or address in entering a U.S. market. And how does the U.S. market? This is multiple questions. How does the U.S. market differ? Maybe we start with that. How does the U.S. market differ than that one?
So as I before mentioned, it's about the sizes and the customers here. They loyal to local brands. So and the years-based brands here like John Deere, Case IH, or Agro is the leaders of the market.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's a little challenging to go to the farmer and say, hey, come on, let's try something new, and see the advantages of that. So I would say it's a difference and it's the challenge.
Yep.
For us to
Earning their trust.
Yes.
For them to give you a chance.
and especially with our accent.
I didn't. You have an accent?
Yeah, I'm from Canada.
So then I guess the market that it is you have a lot more short lines, what we call short lines probably. You have a lot more manufacturers of
and smaller
equipment,
dealerships.
small dealerships. It's not just size of equipment, but also more of them more frequently throughout the countryside and stuff like that. Here we've really started a large consolidation process between the three major OEMs. And stuff like that. So, and then getting someone to, even just have an open conversation to saying, hey, this is an advantage, and listen is a challenge.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's true. So the dealership and the dealership network here it's not so many of dealership, but there's a lot of dealership of the brand.
Yeah.
And not many brands, but a lot of dealership. So what we also trying to do, to go to those dealership, to work with them, not to compete them.
Gotcha.
To be displayed next to those brands like John Deere is.
Yeah.
So people can see us and know, hey, they are next to these brands. So they must be trustful.
Well, and that's one of the, I believe we went to a John Deere dealership when we were over there. Right? And I think they have these, I believe, they're the only Deere dealership for that country.
Within that.
Yes. You mean in Czech?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there is one.
There's only one dealer for
the whole
for John
country.
Deere.
Not like one location. Don't get that confused with one location. But like one person, one dealership name represents the whole brand in that country.
Yeah.
And we were there with Bednar. It was a Deere dealership and stuff like that. But we were there with Bednar, and they loved the tools. They heavily pushed all the tools and stuff like that and stuff. So the consolidation from an OEM has happened there as well, because I'm guessing that hasn't always been the case. Like, I'm guessing there were several different little dealerships throughout.
I would say it's, as the Czech used to be the part of, the Russia. We were under influence. The communism was up there. So it all changed after
It's a very young. Yeah, it's very young.
After the revolution, it's just been like 35 years back.
Yeah.
So after that, the market transportation, you know, to I would say capitalism from socialism.
Yep.
So that's probably what sets the differences, biggest differences in the market. There are the big players, and the market is not as big as here. So
are the other brands, and we'll just take the top two, you know, the CNH and Agco.
Yeah.
Are those also, do they primarily have one dealership representing them within that countryside? Or do they have multiple different dealers, I guess?
They can have more, but not as much as here. So they can be like 2 or 3.
Okay, so it is still very...
It's still like very tight market.
Gotcha.
It's interesting.
Okay. And then when we mentioned the short lines and stuff like that, the only place you start seeing a lot of short line stuff or representation around here, it seems like, it would be on like your implements. Normally whatever hooks on to the back of the tractor, right? That's where you start getting some short line stuff. But primarily, you can pretty much say that it's going to be an Agco represented. You get into this lower horsepower, I'm going to say lower, mid-range and lower, probably, you know, your 130 horse, 150 horse and down. You'll start seeing a little bit of variability in that.
Yeah.
Kubota really represents a large portion of that market around here, and stuff like that. But that is interesting that it's like that.
Yeah, so is the European market. So mostly tractor this size you mentioned.
Yeah.
So you don't see very often the biggest 9 Series John Deeres there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also the difference. It's like not so heavy duty machinery back there.
Yeah.
But more focused on like the efficiency and
Gotcha.
you know, and the reason also is that the land there, the fields are not as big as here.
Gotcha.
The size, the acres.
Now in some parts of Europe, it's absolutely huge, right?
Can be.
Can be. Let's see, you guys set a world record. Bednar set a world record for the amount of acres.
Yeah, I'm not now sure how many acres it was, but it's a world record.
It's on YouTube. We looked at it. It was in like hectares, but we converted it to acres, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
whatever it was.
A hectare is, let's see, is it... Oh man, I may be off on this because I'm thinking kilometers.
And it was somewhere in the south, Eastern Europe. It was
yes.
I'm not sure if it was Romania or Bulgaria, one of those countries.
Yeah. But it was a 60-foot tillage tool.
Yes.
Run at high speed. And it was run on a 24-hour clock. And it's really cool. If anybody's ever watched these types of world record attempts,
yes.
You gotta look it
it's
up
actually kind of cool to watch because there is a fleet of people crawling all over these.
Like NASCAR pit stop.
And I think it's... not to prop another brand or nothing like that, but Vaderstad has I think they had attempted the world record planting record, probably in a very similar environment, very similar area in a 24-hour period. And it is insane. There's probably 60, 70 people that go out and set these things up. And
it's cool.
To be in I think the average speed on that was like 9.5 mile an hour, I think is what I believe the tillage was and stuff like that, which is a specialty of what Bednar does.
Because they focus on the high speed.
They focus on a high speed. Their tillage tools are designed for a high speed.
They're not so they're heavy built. But they're not so heavy for the source.
And with patented technology and design built into it, it's where they don't shift behind you. They pull straight. They pull true, and stuff like that. So. Maybe we'll put some of those up there on our stuff.
We can throw it in the bottom of the video or something.
Yeah,
throw a link in there. You guys can check it out because it's pretty cool.
It was neat to be. Yeah. One of those things. Like one of these days, I'd like to be able to show up. I don't want to be there for 24 hours. I'm not that guy. I don't want to be there.
You want coffee on that one?
It's 24 hours of footage of looking at a tractor.
Exactly. Was there anything else that you got special that comes to mind that you want to share or tell us about yourself, businesses, or anything like that?
Well, regarding the Bednar, if you guys are interested to see it, so we will display it this year in August in Illinois at the Farm Progress Show.
Yeah,
it's gonna be all range of the Bednar equipment.
Yep.
So you're more than welcome to come stop by and see what it does.
We have a few tools on our lot, and they're sitting around here. We also, I know that there is the opportunity to schedule some demonstrations, in-field demos, like on, possibly personal ground and stuff like that. So, I guess if guys are interested in knowing a little bit more about it, we've got people around to run them.
As you mentioned, you still have a dyno here, so
We do dyno.
Even the tractor measuring. So if you guys are interested, we can also schedule the demo for the dyno to find out what your power is in the tractor.
Oh, we had so back in the fall, we had a customer exposition here at the Experience Ag, and it was kind of entertaining. We had a few tractors lined up to bring in and have live dynoed and do the tunes real time to see the before, to see the after. It was very interesting. Loved it. Right? We hooked up a Magnum. I think it was a 310. Wasn't it 310? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was.
Hooked this Magnum 310 up to it, right? And I remember Jiri coming back and being like, we got a problem. What do you mean we got a problem? This is a bad day to have a problem, right? Come on. Don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with a solution. This is not what I need, right? It's like, no, this tractor, we already tuned it. But what do you mean you already tuned it? Well, apparently the grower had purchased this tractor, right? He purchased it out of Canada, which had been imported from Europe. So it had been tuned when it was in Europe. It came over and it made it, of all places, to our live demo.
That's
that day.
funny. I can imagine the guy sitting in the cab like,
Already being tuned.
It's already.
So there's no way to show the difference.
We can't show a difference. Like, we've already done this one.
That's what fun is.
So, you do run across that. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah. So the grower's pretty happy. I mean, he already had his horsepower, and he didn't have to do the, do the $2,500 or whatever. So, well, Jiri, this has been great. Thank you.
Guys,
we appreciate you coming on. That was a great talk.
A lot of fun. Yeah. We'll put you in. We need to make sure we get your social media.
Yeah, sure.
And we're gonna tag you.
We'll tag ATX, Bedar, Agro Eco. We'll put you guys in there. So thank you guys again for watching. Thanks again to Experience Ag and Land Pros for sponsoring us, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you next time.